So based on that, tumeona ujinga zikifanyika hapa hivi, and in terms of hiyo ujinga, Kenya has continued to be drawn at the bottom of the pools that play soccer. And as Tanzania keeps on growing and developing, Uganda keeps on growing, Kenya has just been lagging behind. Hussein Mohammed, yes, that's a candidate that's interesting. To me, huyo ni jamaa watu wanafaa kumsikiliza. There are people when they speak, you need to listen to them. This is somebody who's dedicated his life in sport. Sports Mtaani, tunawasuka maneno michezo from the eye of the people. Henry back at it with another video. Yes, we are talking about sports. Remember, in this channel we said anything that's happening in the motherland positive about sports, we highlight and give it focus. Yeah, today we have a story about the Kenyan soccer that we need to talk about. Everybody out there knows that Kenyan soccer has been in the doldrums for a long time. Wow, gone are the good days that we used to go to stadiums to enjoy and have a great time. Nowadays, if it's not Gor Mahia, there's no soccer in Kenya. Because even the Harambee Stars, we know of late, they're not even playing in Kenya because of a mismanagement, that somebody had an oversight and ensure that the important qualifiers, that's the World Cup and the upcoming African Cup qualifiers, will no longer be played in Kenya for the next foreseeable future. We all know that in the last outings the national team had, its two important qualifiers for the World Cup, they played in Malawi. What a shame. A big country like Kenya that has a big economy and huge investments and infrastructure can take high important games to a foreign land, away, distance away from where her fans are, not even in the East African region. We had to fly all the way to Lilongwe. Wow, those were big games and it was so unfortunate. But most important is the story that's coming up and which we want to talk about. Na nikiongea story, I think nafaa tukubongasua because mwisho wa siku man, mimi nimetoka ghetto, nimesukuma ball huko mtaani mbaya sana, alafu nimefuata Harambee Stars globally. We've been to all Secafas, we've been to all regional tournaments Kenya's played. Tumefuata Harambee Stars, hizo ma tournaments wamecheza Egypt, Cairo, we've been there. And it's because of the passion and the love we have for the game. But all this has been in vain. No effort from the federation has always facilitated for us to travel. The only benefit might have happened, not for me, but for others, might be political goodwill from people like Mike Sonko and others who've done and chipped into their pockets to ensure that those who love soccer and Kenyan fans have a peace and enjoy the game they love. But story natakuongea ni because on the 24th there's something that happened that has set the ball rolling for a new generation of soccer in Kenya. There was a board meeting that sat down on an AGM of the current federation to ensure that they set up rules for elections for the next election that is going to choose the team that's supposed to come in or transit to ensure that soccer moves forward in Kenya. I know people out there have been wondering what's happening in Kenyan soccer. Kenyan soccer was great. There are days when you go memory lane, boli ya Kenya ilikuwa noma hata kushinda Cote d'Ivoire ama Ivory Coast. Watu wajui tu. Man, there are days when Kenya had very good players, the Peter Dows, the Mickey Weches. These were players ranked in Africa in the pecking orders of the biggest players in the world. The players who played, like Peter Dow, played with George Weah in the same club in Egypt on a professional level. People don't know this, but now that's a story for another day. So tunataka kuongea leo ni election imeitwa, ama hii election is supposed to happen. We've seen people come up like Hussein. So the stories about people like Hussein Mohammed who've decided that they're going to vie for the position of the chairmanship of the federation. Remember, the rules of this federation is that once you declare to run, you run as a team. So Hussein will come his team to run for the administration of Kenyan soccer. We've seen people like Dennis Oliech, we've seen people like the vice chair for Bandari FC, Yes. We've seen that's Twaha. We've seen people like, who else is there? There are a lot of former players who've also shown interest to vie in this seat. But to me, the most important thing is the fact that there's an election for the management of the Federation of Kenyan Football, that the ball has been set rolling. This is something that is unprecedented, because we remember the team that is currently in office, that's the Nick Mwenda team, came into office in 2016, and it wakati hasa walikuwa naingia kuliko boli ya Kenya ilikuishaanza kuharibika. Yes, because we remember the Nick Mwenda came before the Nyamweas, yeah, and that was a terrible past that Kenya was having. We've had good past in Kenyan soccer, and in the region, si tunajua venye boli ya Kenya imekuanga poa. We know how Kenyan soccer has been good in the region in the past. But as we speak at the moment, you cannot compare Kenyan football with even Uganda or TZ. I'm not saying Uganda, Tanzania are not also in contention to be polished and be better than Kenya. No, that's not. Sisemi hivyo. Hizo team zote tumechezanga nao, na when Kenya plays Tanzania and Uganda, it's never been an easy match. Even in the past, it's been a derby that always goes either way. Uganda's a formidable outfit from the past, but even now, oh, they're the best ranked East African team. Tanzania has come up, TZ, and in the past, they've had good teams. Yeah, Rwanda also has a good team. Yeah, they've grown, and it's unfortunate that Kenya now is lagging in this pecking order when it comes to the best teams in East Africa. And the reason has been because our administration in soccer has let us down. And I can't be shy to say this. We've been out there, we've screamed, and most importantly, there are people who've aided for this dull moment in soccer, and they're still surrounding even the administration that probably is coming. There are people out there, even these former players, some of them have been beneficiaries, and they've condoned the mismanagement of soccer, and they've been misogynistic when it comes to success ya soccer. So mwisho wa siku hii story hudi watu, na mimi nadiudhi sana, because nimekuwa hapa hivyo. Remember all these years that we celebrated around the stars, we chased the team up and down, the Musa Otieno, you know, when kina Mulama were good players, yeah, the kina Paul Mtie, you know, those were good days when Kenyan soccer was great. We loved the team, we followed the team, and they were playing good soccer. Even though we might not have an international, like regional, let's say African Cup of Nations trophy, but on continental matches that were played at home, these people gave their all, and they gave a sense of belonging to anybody who would appreciate soccer in the country. So when you hear something like this saying that mpira inakuja kuchezwa Kenya, ama Kenya inaenda kucheza mahali, everybody, we could glue on TVs and radios listening to a team playing as far as Morocco just to know what the scores were. You know, that's how passionate we were, and that's how people envied the team at that point. And all this is gone to the drain. And one of the reasons that this happened is because of poor management when it comes to the federation. There's money that was pumped in by FIFA, and I think that's where the rain started beating. When FIFA came up with the goal project and started pumping money for investment in clubs and facilities, man, people saw money coming in, and the people who got into office, Tumbokrats, who at this moment in time believed it was the moment to eat, they ignored the norms, and when in cahoot with government officials, they knew that there was money to be eaten here, these people messed football, and that's where the love and the rain started beating us. So unfortunately, that's a thing of the past, and to be proud of what's happening, I believe the minister who's just come in, Kipchumba Murkomen, he's hit above his weight, and that is good because he has a focus on what's happening. I remember he said during the launch, when they received the athletes who came from the Olympics to celebrate the medals, he said he knows where the problem is, and I believe if this is what is done in a few weeks' time, since he was chosen to be the minister. There's a lot of good things that I believe he's going to do. And because the problem is with the federation, and the federation has let us down, especially in the perspective of the football fans in Kenya. Because administratively, you cannot do all efforts when it comes to promoting officiation, coaching, but at the same time, in terms of infrastructure, player welfare, clubs, organization, and tournament organization, there's a lackluster management and a lip service paid on this. At the end of the day, Kenya, as much as we say Kenya play friendly matches, who are the teams that we play? Remember, when you're playing a friendly match, in terms of FIFA, you're supposed to rank yourself and position yourself in a way that you play in a tournament or in a friendly that elevates your level in the ranking of FIFA. So based on that, tumeona ujinga zikifanyika hapa hivi, and in terms of hiyo ujinga, Kenya has continued to be drawn at the bottom of the pools that play soccer. And as Tanzania keeps on growing and developing, Uganda keeps on growing, Kenya has just been lagging behind. Case in point, history, hatuna study of the national team to play. That's poor administration in all aspects. Because at the end of the day, most important, as a federation, you need to understand that in a year's calendar, the importance day where your national team is supposed to play important matches, even if you have to rehabilitate, there's a way you plan to rehabilitate so that you don't disenfranchise a particular stakeholder, which is the fans, from an important or dent your chances for qualifying just by virtue that you're building or rebuilding a stadium. So those are some of the weak points that administratively you say that we've had people chosen to manage sports who do not even know what they're doing. So to me, that's a big letdown that Kenya has had. It's time that we get a new management that's coming in, that's going to reinvent or resuscitate, rejuvenate Kenya. Out of the people who've stood out of showing intention that they're gonna vie, mi kuna mtu tu mmoja hapo hivyo namwaminia. I really respect former players like Dennis Oliech. I do respect him a lot for the highlight he brought onto the sports in Kenya, and specifically in soccer. This guy is a professional, played the international to the international levels. Yeah, he played for Nantes. I remember he played for Auxerre. Yeah, he also played in Qatar. Some big leagues, man. Made some money, invested locally, and I appreciate all that he did for the sport. He really represented the national team. I also appreciate the Musas, the Michael Courts. So in terms of former players who intend to contest, I really believe that I would respect if somebody like Michael Court, Mickey Weche, all those old legends of the game would offer their candidature. Because those were the good days when Kenyan soccer used to be great. After those years, let's say just from the 90s, the game, you cannot identify an individual player who have contributed massively to the development of soccer in Kenya. The likes of Mariga, who had a great moment playing for Parma and Inter in the international stage. When opportunity came pecking, he went to politics. And those are the characters that would have given a big image to help market soccer and improve into the game. But they went to bed with the administration at play. So to me, in terms of former players, until somebody comes a blast from the past, I think they offer no solution because they've been part of the problem to the detriment of soccer in Kenya. Hussein Mohammed, yes, that's a candidate that's interesting. To me, huo ni jamaa, watu wanafaa kumsikiliza. There are people, when they speak, you need to listen to them. This is somebody who's dedicated his life in sport. I remember him when he used to run an organization called Extreme Sports they had a tournament ilikuwa inaitwa Super 8 na ball ilikuwa inasukumwa, man, regional tournament inasukumwa, like organized well, had investment, and that is a kind of person who has a big interest and might have a big influence in the change of Kenya. He might not be the best at the moment, but at this time in point, tuna need somebody who anaelewa where tumetoka, then he understands and has an idea on how to move Kenyan soccer even a niche further as we progress and await what awaits us in future. No, najaribu tu kusema ati in terms of the people who've shown interest to run for the federation as a new start, Hussein Mohammed stands out as one of the people who should be given a listening. He's a serious contender. He knows Kenyan soccer. He's invested in soccer. Other than just being the vice chair of Muranga Seal, this guy has a passion, and he's tried to contest before, and all these loopholes that are there, probably, I believe, he understands. So that is somebody who, to me, should be given an opportunity. Until other people show interest, and as the election comes nearby, tutakuwa tunajua, because at the end of the day, we only know what we see. People will also say what they say, and we as the people will decide. But most importantly, I really appreciate the fact that there's an election coming up to elect a new leadership for the Football Kenya Federation. This is Henry, and I'm out. Peace.